Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite realtor, Dr. Yeti, and I am back with yet another video. Today, we're going to be talking about squatters, specifically Airbnb squatters. Listen, this is near and dear to my heart. Your girl was once upon a time an Airbnb host. It was not for me. It's not for the weak, okay? And typically, you know, one of the reasons why hosts like to have long-term guests is because there's no turnaround. It's very little turnaround. You don't have to go and worry about finding cleaners. You don't have to worry about too much, right? The tenant or the guest will come in the house, will stay in the property for an extended period of time. You don't have to worry too much about the turnaround. It's great. However, okay, if you live in states like Georgia, for example, where if you stay in the property for more than 30 days, technically it becomes your residency. That is your legal residency. I can't legally kick you out. Okay, so it's a very interesting process. I'm very curious to see what is happening in this news report because I've been through it myself. I haven't been through the squatting situation. I'm grateful to God for that. However, I know someone personally who went through that situation where they had someone stay for 12 months. However, they only paid for the first 2 months, and then after that they stopped paying, and then they were not planning on leaving. They did not listen to the warnings, anything like that. So but anyway, before I get into the video though, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Okay, we are at 91 subscribers, y'all. 91. See, the goal is to make it to 100 subscribers before the end of 2025. Once again, okay, I know 100 sounds like chump change to you guys, but to me it means a lot because it means that I'm doing something right and there are people that actually truly value what I have to share with you guys. But without further ado, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's get to the video.
All of the responsibilities are on me and I can't get into my property. There's a leak in the property. The water bill is escalating. I can't get in there to see what's going on.
A D.C. homeowner claiming an Airbnb guest has overstayed their welcome and will not leave. In this story you'll only see on 7 News. We're digging into D.C. law, finding out there's not much that homeowner can do. Our Washington, D.C. reporter Felicia Ashley spoke with the homeowner and tried to speak with the alleged squatter.
The alleged squatter originally got into the home through Airbnb, claiming that her apartment caught fire and it needed time to get repairs. Now that was back in February. Roshane Douglas says she didn't know she was opening her life up to a nightmare when she accepted Shadija Romero's Airbnb reservation almost 10 months ago. That reservation ended March 29th after 32 days. And
oh my goodness. That sounds like a maybe 2 to 3 month lease.
Romero hasn't paid another dime, but living in the home for over a month apparently lets her claim some form of tenant rights, and she refuses to let Roshane enter the property.
I never gave her any tenancy. I never gave her a lease.
Roshane tried everything, gave her a 30-day notice to vacate, called police, went to court, and even offered Romero $2,500 to sign a paper admitting she's not a tenant and to get out. Romero signed the document but didn't budge.
November the 15th.
She signed the document, got the money, and still didn't leave. Bro, this is insane. People are wild out here. My goodness.
She told me this no longer works for me. Do what you have to do. I'm not leaving. I went to the police with my order, and they said there's nothing that they can do, that I need to go to court, which I've done, and I do not have a court date until December the 11th.
Roshane put this sign up on her home so police and neighbors would know Romero was not authorized to be there. A sign Romero covered with a sheet.
Oh my goodness.
I was there when police
diabolical
helped Roshane cut it down while Romero hid inside.
It's shocking to me that you would abuse a system like that.
While all this is going on, Romero's social media shows her living her best life on trips and promoting her nonprofit. And Roshane is left paying thousands in attorney fees, the mortgage, and utilities for a home she can't even enter. I tried to get some answers from Romero, who was clearly inside the home, but she never came to the door. When a person walked out to her car, they didn't want to talk to us either. Roshane is waiting now for her court date next week, where she's hoping the judge's decision will allow U.S. Marshals to force her unwanted guest out once and for all. For now, reporting from Northeast D.C., Felicia Ashley, 7 News.
7 News.
Yo, and you know the crazy thing is, like, if someone goes through foreclosure, they have to vacate that property. Like, you have to leave. Foreclosure does not lead anyone to any tenancy rights or anything like that. They have to leave. But a situation like this, they have to stay. At least, let me take it back. I've never seen anyone that's been foreclosed on that's like, I legally live here. I'm not gonna go anywhere. This is my legal right to stay here. But in a situation like this, if the woman decided not to pay for this mortgage, it's like this tenant at any cost is willing to stay at this place, even if that woman was not able to pay mortgage on that property anymore, and she was forced to foreclose. Like, she did, at all costs, she does not care. And that is crazy to me. Like, people, and the thing is, this also goes back to the disconnection between tenants and landlords. People really believe that landlords are these wicked, evil people. She is literally a regular woman that still has to pay the mortgage on that property, still has to pay the water bills, but yet there's this woman living there free and clear. Legally, she's allowed to stay there. It's, to me, I think that law, I do not understand the benefit of that law, who created it and why. Like, why is it that this person legally cannot be kicked out of this property if they don't have a lease, they don't have any documentation showing that they are allowed to be there, the owner of the property does not want them to be there, the owner of the property gave them ample notice to leave, and still yet this person is still staying on this property. I think it's insane.
Has been reporting on reforms to rental housing laws in the district. Back in September, City Council passed the Rental Act. Supporters of the legislation say D.C. landlords lost more than $1 billion in unpaid rent since eviction moratoriums were lifted in 2021. The measure simplifies the eviction process and allowed landlords to remove tenants who violate their leases by not paying rent. Those against the act say it takes away protections for tenants. Our investigative reporter John Barr has been following the Rental Act. You could read what's in that measure right now on WJLA.com. New at 6 and only on 7 News. We are now hearing from the woman accused of taking over an Airbnb in Northeast D.C. The homeowner reached out to 7 on Your Side for help after that woman refused to leave. Our Washington, D.C. reporter Felicia Ashley is now live outside the home. Felicia, you have a lot of updates on this case.
A lot, and it all happened as we were out here working on this story. First, you can see the homeowner was able to board up the home, but the guest was able to get back in. In addition to that, though, I was able to speak with the person the homeowner is accusing of squatting in her home. She stopped us as we were outside doing the story and invited us in.
Oh, the police, we finna get some juicy tea. She let her in?
Allowed her to hire a locksmith and break in. She gave them no documents. She gave them no court orders. She gave them no lease. She just came and said, I'm locked out. This is taking me somewhere where I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to stay on the right, but for somebody to just take and do, everybody has a breaking point.
I went back to the property today and saw child services show up because Shadija brought her daughter into the home while there was no power or electricity inside. Police also showed up because the homeowner's truck went missing after Shadija got back in the house. And when Shadija cracked the door open to get a package, I saw what appears to be a candles and essential oils business inside.
This is unbelievable.
You can, hey, jeez. Oh, she's running an active business in a home that she's not even paying rent on. That is insane. You are taking from another business owner and you yourself are a business owner, and do you think that this is going to lead you somewhere good? Do you think that this is not going to come back against you? You yourself are a business owner, and you're taking from a business owner. I'm telling you, God don't play by his kids now.
That led to a virtual emergency hearing today. In court, it was revealed that Shadija tried to push Roshane off a ladder, took the utilities out of the homeowner's name and put it in her daughter's name, tampered with cameras, requested that Roshane pay her back for the food lost when the power was turned off. Oh, and she asked the judge if she could question Roshane as a hostile witness. I was with Roshane as she attended the hearing from her car outside the home.
And the sad part is, I feel sorry for her. I really do. But your problem is, I can't help you. But I truly feel sorry for her and her child and all of this. And I have a big heart, and this is the outcome of me having a big heart. But I really hope
she's
somebody
so
can help her.
kind.
But you can't do it at my expense. I don't have it. If the judge doesn't give me some release, I'm going to lose my property because I can't pay $4,000 a month and my other bills and my responsibilities like this. And there's no recourse for me.
$4,000 a month for 10 months.
Just
is
months
insane.
ago,
That's
as we were working on this
$40,000.
live shot and this report, Shadija came up to our car and said that we could finally speak to her. This is what she had to say, or part of what she had to say during our 15-minute conversation.
She said that we didn't have a lease, which we do not have a lease in place, but we did have an agreement for me to stay at the property beyond the initial Airbnb time frame.
See, this is so perfect. Once upon a time, I had people, whenever I did Airbnbs, I made sure that they stayed for a maximum of 29 days because I did not want to deal with this. And anyone that wants to stay anything beyond those 30 days is possible, but I'm going to run your background check and I'm going to make sure that everything is in alignment. I'm going to make sure that you have no evictions. I'm going to make sure that you have no, and your credit score, all that stuff, cool, but you're making on time payments, right? I'm going to make sure, I'm going to call your previous landlords because the report is going to show where you lived previously. I'm going to reach out to them to see how good of a tenant you were, how on time you made your payments. And if there were any discrepancies anywhere, you were out of here. There was a lady that tried to stay with me. I told her, I said, yeah, you can stay for longer than 30 days. However, you need to submit a report. Not a background check, but just fill an application that's going to run the check. And because it did run background checks as well. And she backed out. She didn't want to do it. There were people that did do background checks and I did do the reports and I didn't like what I saw. I brought it up to them and they couldn't give me an explanation. I'm sorry, you can't stay here. So it took me a lot, like for me, because I've heard those stories and I've seen someone personally deal with it. I was not playing those games. You can stay for longer than 30 days if you file it or you pay for it on Airbnb. But if you don't want to pay for it in Airbnb, you want to stay for longer than 30 days, you have to run the proper measures. And I think she expected that, oh, this is a person from Airbnb. You can, like, anything outside of Airbnb is not going to deal with it. Airbnb is not going to help you because you are doing business outside of them. So they don't have any incentive to help you. And also, like, why would you do business outside of Airbnb? That's how they're thinking. Like, oh, we want to make all the money. So why would I go out of my way to help you when you decided to go out of your way to do business outside of us? So this is very unfortunate. But if she's never seen it before, she's never heard of it, she didn't even know about it, she may have thought, oh, it makes sense. But I'm telling you, there was a lot of sketchy people that tried to do this with me. And I said, huh.
So she's been back to the property almost every day. They installed signs.
And also, she didn't even say anything. Yes, she gave you the agreement to stay there for longer than the agreed time on Airbnb. However, you were supposed to pay. Why would she let her stay for longer than the Airbnb term without a lease? My goodness.
Now, coming up what happened today is that there was an emergency hearing because of everything that unfolded. In that hearing, the judge did tell Roshane she has to turn back on the electricity. Now, there is another hearing next week where the judge will decide.
Why will she turn it back on? If she turns it back on, she has to pay for it. If I turn back on the electricity, it's my responsibility to pay for it now. I don't want to pay for it. What if I don't have the money?
Shadija can stay or if she has to go. Now reporting live from Northeast DC, Felicia Ashley, 7 News.
And
Oh, wait,
Felicia will have
more, 'cause we still
more
got
on
about
this
6 more
story
minutes left
online,
on this.
WJLA.com.
What a story.
All right, Tom. Well, only on 7 News. It's a bizarre dispute between two women involving an Airbnb property in the district. The owner claims a squatter is refusing to leave and locked her out. We spoke with the owner on Wednesday.
All of the responsibilities are on me, and I can't get into my property. There's a leak in the property. The water bill is escalating. I can't get in there to see what's going on.
Got to pay the water bills.
Our Felicia Ashley
Crazy.
also spoke with the alleged squatter. Felicia is
like
now
that
joining
code.
us live. Felicia, this story just unravels to get more and more interesting. What can you tell us about what the alleged squatter has to say?
Right. Well, I spoke with her and she maintains the fact that she says she is a tenant. And she says after her 30-day Airbnb stay got extended, she says she fell in hard times, some unfortunate situations, said she lost a lot of money. And that's why she couldn't leave at the set date that she had with the homeowner.
It's been 10 months.
I sat down with an emotional Shadija Romero inside Rochelle Douglas's home.
Like, are we supposed to feel sorry for you?
Airbnb with the intention of staying?
No, I did not book the Airbnb with the intent of staying.
So why are you still here?
Because after the repairs were done, the place still smelled like fire and there was water damage. So the water damage was more substantial than the fire damage.
You didn't go back to your apartment because it still smelled like smoke
What are you talking
And
about?
water damage.
and water damage.
But like, it's her house, not
What
yours.
makes
She
you
can
choose
deal with
to
it
stay here
herself.
instead when the homeowner has made it clear she doesn't want you here, doesn't want to be a landlord? There's now no utilities on. There's wood boarded up. There's a sign outside saying she doesn't want you here. What's making you choose to stay?
So no, that didn't start until literally this month.
What
so
didn't start?
The sign on the building
We don't
or
care
the
about when it
utility,
started.
that wasn't something that
You're
happened
not
prior
supposed
to
to
this
be
point,
here.
prior to this month. So if that had happened months ago and that was something that I've been dealing with for months, I would leave. So now with all
What? She's been asking you to leave for months. And you're saying that if she had done all of that months ago, you would have left? She had to go to that extent for you to decide to leave?
of this going on, I am going to leave.
Romero says she is still going to have the Douglases go through the full court process to get her out because of what she says they have put her through and for labeling her as a squatter.
Squatter
you
is
are a
someone
squatter.
who has illegally entered the property without your notice and you never had an agreement with them.
It's also not just if the home's
But-
vacant, it's if you're there without the owner's permission, and
babes.
you're not leaving.
Yes, if you had maybe that other part is there.
Girl, what are you talking about? You didn't pay. Like, I don't understand what she's trying to rationalize. Like, you're not meant to be here. Coming up at 6, more from Shadija and why she says she is a tenant, although there is not a lease that exists between the two. I also spoke with an attorney for both tenants and landlords in these situations, and he explains how homeowners unwillingly walk themselves into these situations and become landlords. Now reporting live from Northeast DC, Felicia Ashley, 7 News.
More now on a story that's getting a lot of reaction online. A D.C. homeowner
What are
claims
they putting
a
in the
woman
waters
has
of these news reporters?
taken over her rental home
Like,
and
she's beautiful.
refuses to leave. And up until now, she's run into one legal brick wall after another. So joining us now is Aaron Sokolow, a D.C.-based lawyer who specializes in landlord and tenant cases. Aaron, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to us about this, because this has just been a wild story, and it's raised probably the biggest question is, how is squatting even allowed to happen?
So in theory, squatting is not legal and the homeowner should have some remedy. The problem is in the logistical way that a homeowner can get a remedy. And what you're describing in this case that you've been reviewing is that there's a dispute. The individual who's there says she's a tenant, the homeowner says that she's not, and you go down to court on an emergency hearing and there's a judge sitting there and the judge is going to hear from both. But the district is so pro-tenant and so fearful that there will be a wrongful eviction or a self-help eviction where the owner changes locks or turns off utilities or does something to cause occupant to leave without court order, that the judge is going to err on the side of caution. And if the occupant can show something that leads the court to say that there's a possibility that she's allowed to stay there, the court could grant the occupant's request at an injunction and mandate that the owner keeps her there until she gets awarded a proper eviction. And the problem is, in the district, that can take months and months.
Yeah,
and it puts
evictions are not
homeowners in a
quick.
really tough spot in the situation you've described.
Oh my goodness! I
That's
mean, you're
months of
shining
her
so much
having to pay
light
$4,000 a
on
month
the
on a
court
rent, on
process,
mortgage.
what that actually looks like. That being said, would you say the laws in DC are favorable to squatters?
Yes.
Well, they're favorable to tenants, and one person's squatter is another person's alleged squatter, an actual tenant, and the court is going to make sure that it finds out the answer to that preliminary question of has that individual achieved tenancy status or not. And so you're starting with the conclusion that the person's a tenant, but that individual has a right to go to court and try to prove that she's actually a tenant and afforded all of the rights of tenants in the district. And therein lies the rub. It's not easy to get a court to find an answer to that question. It seems simple. In the eyes of the law, it could become very complicated, especially in the district.
How common is this? You say especially in the district. How common is this problem?
I have personally been involved in a handful of these over the years. So it's not every day that you see
What's
it.
a handful?
It's certainly a
What's
worst
over
case
the years?
scenario, but I've seen it before. So it's not a unicorn. It's something that comes up. Remember, in the district, you don't need to have a written lease. You know, a tenant can be defined very broadly. So if an individual can come, and in this case, it's a utility bill is in their name, and that's a common factor that a court would look at.
Mail.
If the tenant, if the occupant can say, you know, here's my proof of some payment, that can be enough. You know, I've had cases where my client, a property owner, a landlord, says this person literally broke in, but by the time, you know, it gets to the courthouse, they have some mail with their name and the property address on it, or something like that. And the court proceeds out of an abundance of caution and is so hesitant to sign off on a self-help eviction that they say, well, you know, because the prejudice to locking this person out would be so high, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt until we can get to the bottom of that. And get to the bottom of that can be a trial that's
money.
held 9 months later.
Well, y'all pay the money.
Just the timeline,
while
which
the
as
person
we kind
waits.
of were seeing in the package, the payments, this can be
it's not cheap.
excruciating for people trying to pay and not even living at a property in
Like,
the meantime.
people think that landlords just have so much money to just blow and just like throw around. Like, she has to pay that. She probably has her own mortgage that she's paying for to live in. She probably has kids that she's dealing with. She's helping family members, whatever the case is. She has her own life to live. And now on top of it, she's paying an additional $4,000 a month on this mortgage that was supposed to be an income stream for her. And now it's eating her wallet, at her bank account. Like, this is not fair. That's very like...
Aaron, what can homeowners actually do then in a situation like this?
My biggest recommendation is to be present and to understand what's going on. Accidental landlords, you know, if you just say, oh, I'm not an institutional landlord, I'm just renting out my room. They are held to the same rigors and standards as every other landlord in the city. So being knowledgeable about the law, being knowledgeable about what a court might say about these certain situations is of the utmost importance.
Like, for her to
As
be
is being
breathing,
hands-on
oh, girl, you wrong for that.
the property. Usually when I've seen this, there's some length of time where they say, oh, you know, we didn't check on that unit for a while and we don't know what's been going on there. If you catch this right away, you might have a better chance at fending off an allegation that your squatter can allege a tenancy.
Why do you think, from your experience and what you've seen, the more hasn't been done to protect landlords and homeowners?
There's a very well coordinated and well educated and talented group of pro-tenant lobby in the district that you know really tries to make the laws as favorable for tenants as possible, and they've succeeded to a large part. So this would be a question for everyone's council member to say, you know, why are the laws as they are?
Why are there lobbyists
but the courts
for this
that enforce the
specific
laws
thing?
are very hesitant to take an action that's going to kick someone out of a place if they actually.
Okay, well, let me know what you guys think about what's going on, because I'm not gonna lie, that really was upsetting to me, to say the least, because no one wants to see, like, that's a woman, a regular woman that, you know, just happened to decide that she wanted to make another stream of income for herself. She wanted to make some money for herself to, you know, not have to worry about life. And now look at her going through something like this and having to deal with someone squatting in her property. But let me know what your opinions are about squatters. Let me know what your thoughts are, if this is something that you would do, if you know someone that's done this, or if you know someone that has been on the wrong side of this. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. Before you go though, okay, now that you've watched this far, okay, I know that you like what you see, you like what you heard, okay? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, okay? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video, and don't forget to share it with whomever you believe would need to see this. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I love you, and remember, God loves you even more. Bye.